Urban legends abound all over the world, usually to deter us from parking in dark spots at night or talking to frightening kids with dark-colored eyes. But what happens when one gets viral, causing so much dread that people start dying as a result? That's exactly what happened in India in 2001, when citizens claimed 350 horrifying encounters with what would later be known as the Monkey Man of Delhi music. Delhi, India's busy capital, with a population of about 33 million. Not only is it large, but it is also one of the most densely populated cities on the planet, with an astonishing 29,000 inhabitants per square mile, ranging from towering high-rises to sprawling slums. This bustling metropolis positively teems with life despite its reputation as a major economic powerhouse. Nonetheless, the city's residents experienced considerable hardships in the early 2000s. Unemployment and underemployment were common among the 14 million citizens at the time, and the city's stressed infrastructure struggled to keep up. Slums grew rapidly, with many residents lacking access to clean water, sanitation, or education. These severe conditions were exacerbated by poor air quality, with portions of the city continually covered in toxic fog from burning rubbish, vehicle emissions, and industrial pollutants. To add to the agony, power companies imposed rolling blackouts, which left poorer communities in the dark for hours at a time. One of the most odd cryptids on record first appeared in this turbulent setting, estimated to be between 4 and 8. It was 7 foot tall, with an ape-like face and thick black or brown fur. He also possessed brilliant crimson eyes that shone through the darkness. Those who were unfortunate enough to encounter it claimed that it preferred to attack at night, springing at people and either bludgeoning them with weapons or slicing them with sharp teeth and claws. A few people were said to have perished from direct injuries, but the majority were apparently so afraid of the beast that they jumped off roofs and terraces to escape it. It didn't take long for everyone in the city to fear Delhi's Monkey Man. Quickly, many began to wonder what the monster was, particularly among the more devout individuals. The conversation swiftly went to India's legends. The subcontinent has a rich folklore heritage that includes plenty of monsters, ranging from the demonic Razar to the vampiric Vetalas. There are numerous animals thought to live in graveyards, caves, and other gloomy locations. Then there are cryptids such as the Mun Brung, a 9-foot-tall Bigfoot-like creature supposed to live in deep jungles, and its Himalayan relative, the Yeti. Could one of these monsters have infiltrated the urban environment and caused havoc among the poor? Whatever the case, what follows has been described as either clear evidence of a paranormal being's attack or one of the strangest and most lethal Masuria cases in history. The Monkey Man's emergence coincided with a heat wave that hit Delhi in the summer of 2001. For weeks, both rich and poor people suffered from high temperatures that regularly exceeded 40 degrees. This, combined with unreliable electricity, meant that many residents couldn't even power a fan to keep cool. As a result, many chose to sleep outside on balconies, terraces, and roofs. While this gave some relief from the heat, it also exposed them to polluted air, and it appears that something far more disastrous occurred one particularly hot night. Pros Chand, a 37-year-old manufacturing worker, decided to sleep on his terrace while his family remained in their apartment. The Chand family, as slum dwellers, had limited space. The scorching heat between them would have been almost unbearable in the small, dilapidated flat. Precious subsequently said that he had spread a rug on his balcony and listened to the noises of the city before falling asleep at 1 a.m. However, his pleasant slumber would not last long. At approximately 4 a.m., Prash claimed he was startled awake, but he couldn't see anything in the deep blackness. He later stated that he became aware of anything on the small balcony without being warned. Pros was struck hard in the arm before something enormous and heavy jumped on top of him. Though he couldn't get a good look at his attacker, he claimed he could hear it roaring and snarling as it repeatedly punched him in the face, neck, and head. The attack lasted only a few seconds, and Prash claimed that whatever had attacked him had vanished. After disappearing into the darkness, concerned for his family, he called the authorities and reported that he had been attacked by something strong, well-built, and not human. It was only then that he realized he was not the only one being attacked in the slums. That week, police indicated that approximately 20 victims had reported being pounced on while wandering alone at night or sleeping on rooftops. Many of them emerged from the fight with severe scratch scars and gouges on their arms, faces, and necks. The victims further said that after the violent attacks, the creatures suddenly vanished. As the weeks passed, more and more people reported being attacked or encountering the weird creature. Despite the outlandish allegations, the Delhi police had no choice but to take the matter as seriously as the populace. They hired more than 3,000 temporary officers to patrol the streets at night, looking for anything out of place. They also issued a series of illustrations based on eyewitness stories, but these only added to the uncertainty as the attacks became more common. In these fresh reports, the descriptions of Delhi's monkey man became increasingly weird. He would occasionally emerge dressed, usually wearing a metal helmet. Other witnesses described the beast as having an angelic aura and being able to jump more than 30 feet at a time. Others say it was covered in feathers rather than fur and went so quickly because it could fly. At least one person claimed seeing it on roller skates. Many found the resulting sketches difficult to take seriously. However, for those living in the slums, the monkey man was a dangerous reality. After all, a considerable percentage of sightings had resulted in injuries. Some people were scratched, some were knocked to the ground and punched, while some were simply scared out of their minds and damaged themselves attempting to flee. At least one man died after falling off a building in fright when his neighbor yelled to warn him of the monkey man's approach. The local media just added to the panic, interviewing each and everyone with scrapes on their arms. Alternatively, they may tell their own scary narrative. Even with the additional officers, younger Delhi residents quickly began prowling the streets with axes and sticks. This resulted in several incidences of mistaken identity as the mob mentality spread throughout the slums. Police received multiple reports of armed gangs attacking innocent bystanders or individuals being trampled in the rush to flee or kill the unknown creature. Despite the circulating stories about the monkey man, the heat wave and blackouts caused tens of thousands of people to continue sleeping on their balconies nightly. As a result, attacks occurred on a daily basis, sometimes up to a dozen in 24 hours. According to police records, one young girl decided to sleep outside for the evening, only to wake up in the middle of the night to find a hairy inhuman hand resting on her thigh and hearing her screams. The girl's mother dashed out of the apartment, shaking a broom frantically at anything around her daughter. This sparked a host of fresh tales that the monkey man was targeting young ladies in order to kidnap and transport them back to its lair. By this point, the people had devolved into near anarchy. Every night, they went to bed in fear, and every morning, the news would show another sequence of accidents, injuries, and sometimes deaths. The most notable incident of the monkey man causing a fatality is the terrible story of an individual simply known as Swan. Suman, a 27-year-old pregnant woman, lived in the East Delhi slums. Swan's family members claimed that the heat, along with her pregnancy, had made her miserable and that she was having problems sleeping as a result. She had decided to sleep on the terrace. Temperatures had reached 42 degrees Celsius one fatal night, and many residents had elected to confront the night air, most likely assuming there was safety in numbers. Swan was awoken in the early hours by screaming from her neighbors, who said that the monkey man had arrived. Apparently unable to go inside, she attempted to flee down the stairs from her terrace, but in her distress, she lost her footing and fell to the ground below. Unfortunately, she died in the hospital from her injuries. The only other confirmed fatality remains unknown to this day. According to police sources, the anonymous individual died as a result of severe injuries to his face, neck, and abdomen. While terrible, authorities noted that the victim's body served as critical evidence in their investigation into the monkey man phenomenon. Then, Joint Commissioner of Police Shivers Roy reported talking with experts about the wounds caused. Several of them were proven to be bites of some type, but the doctors were unable to clearly match them to any known animal. After verifying with Delhi Zoo personnel, the police determined that all animals were safe. Whatever killed the man either lived in the city or in the nearby wild areas. And because the victim was not eaten, the creature's motivation for killing was certainly not survival. There were over 350 documented events and related complaints visited the Monkey Man of Delhi over the course of 3 weeks. However, neither animal nor human was ever photographed, let alone captured. Furthermore, the tremendous variance in descriptions of this bizarre being has prompted numerous questions about who or what it was, as well as whether it existed at all. The first theory holds that there was an attacker of some sort lurking in the darkness of the Delhi slums. Whether it was a disfigured human gigantic monkey demon or something else totally is less essential than showing that it existed. Its existence appears to be justified by the multiple injuries inflicted, many of which appear to be bite-like lacerations. Some claim it was a case of mistaken identity. Due to the extreme darkness, villagers mistook a local monkey or other animal for something larger and more sinister. Others argue that the monkeys native to India cannot be mistaken for the gray langur, the region's largest primate, which stands 5 to 8 feet tall. Despite standing only 2 feet tall and weighing 44 pounds, the Monkey Man was regarded as magical by the majority of Delhi citizens. This would explain why it was able to attack so quickly before fully disappearing. Some have speculated that it could have been a demon or mystical figure with the power to shape-shift, similar to the Skinwalker of North America, or a transition between music realms. Finally, some believe the Monkey Man was entirely human or a group of humans, possibly in disguise. Whether they were pranksters or had criminal intent is debatable, but proponents of this theory argue that it is the only way to explain the animal's size and the fact that it was frequently seen wearing clothing. However, scientists and researchers all around the world disagree with them. The Monkey Man was a prime example of popular panic, worsened by longer-than-usual heat blackouts and media sensationalism. True, as news of the Monkey Man attack spread, dread and concern surged among the city's poorest residents. Residents' collective apprehension may have led them to misunderstand sounds, shadows, or even regular animals as the Monkey Man. When we look at the reports, many of the worst injuries appear to entail people fleeing away from something they didn't see and injuring themselves in the process. Swan, the pregnant woman, only heard her neighbor's screams before falling to her death in an attempt to escape. Priyos Chand, the man sleeping on the balcony, did not get a good glance at his attacker, only at the mysterious man who perished. His wounds provide no tangible evidence, but he was never able to explain what had happened to him. It's worth remembering that animal attacks are rather regular in India, with bears, leopards, and tigers claiming hundreds of lives each year. Could he have been the victim of an unconnected animal attack that got mixed in with the mounting panic? Finally, there's the issue of the prize. Shortly after the rumors spread, Delhi police issued a 50,000 rupee reward for information, resulting in the capture of the Monkey Man, as expected. This resulted in a surge of additional calls and reports. However, many of them turned out to be hoaxes or lies made up in an attempt to collect the money. It is impossible to ignore the fact that the vast majority of the casualties, around 94%, were from the city's poorest districts, with 89% having a low socioeconomic standing. After the sightings subsided, police reported that some people had faked injuries for medical and media attention, while others reframed existing unrelated injuries as the result of encounters with the infamous interloper. Of course, none of these revelations received anywhere near the amount of attention as the Monkey Man sightings themselves, leading many residents to believe that all of the encounters were equally legitimate. Many people find it difficult to believe that Delhi residents could react so brutally in the absence of a legitimate physical threat. After all, mass hysteria events do not occur in a vacuum, but there is absolutely no way to know what happened during those few months in 2001. We know that the city's situation at the time was far from optimal. The inhabitants in the slums where the majority of the sightings occurred were impoverished, hungry, and frequently suffering from heat or air quality-related ailments. Could they have created the Monkey Man out of thin air? Or did someone or something simply employ the congested slum conditions to conceal their malicious activities? Unless the Monkey Man reappears, we may never know. For the time being, the incident remains a mystery, with many explanations providing little explanation for what occurred, even if it was simply a case of mass hysteria, pranks, mistaken animals, or a combination of these causes. The episode is a fascinating illustration of how fear and gossip can quickly turn into a full-fledged urban legend. We know that Delhi's population has recently surpassed 33 million. With so many people living in the city, it would be difficult for a large animal or weird monster to remain hidden indefinitely. If the monkey man is still out there, it will only be a matter of time before someone finds him again, unless, of course, he genuinely was supernatural for eon time glorifying in the city.